In a mud hut far from town lived an old grass cutter named Wali Dad. Every morning, Wali Dad cut and bundled tall, wild grass. Every afternoon, he sold it as a fodder in the marketplace.
What am I to do with all this money? I need nothing more than I already have.
Do tell me, in all the world, who is the noblest lady?
Without a doubt, it is the young Queen of Kazakhstan. I often visit her palace, just 3 days journey to the east.
Do me a kindness, and next time you go to her palace, give her this little bracelet and my compliments.
Soon after, the merchant found himself at the place of the Queen of Kazakhstan. He presented the bracelet to her as a gift from Wali Dad.
How lovely! Your friend must accept a gift in return. My servants will load a camel with the finest silks.
When the merchant arrived back home, he brought the silks to the hut of Wali Dad.
Oh no! What is this? This is worse than before. What am I supposed to do with such finery?
Perhaps you could give it to someone else.
Do me a favor. Who is the noblest man in all the world?
Oh, without a doubt, it's the young King of Nekabad. His palace is just a few days' journey to the west.
Please, do me one more favor. The next time you go there, give them this silk and my compliments.
The merchant was amused, but he agreed. On his next journey, he presented the silks to the King of Nekabad.
A splendid gift. In return, your friend must have 12 of my finest horses.
This grows worse and worse. What am I supposed to do with 12 horses? I have an idea. Next time you go, you take 2 horses for yourself and give the rest to the Queen of Kazakhstan.
The merchant thought this was very funny, but he consented. On his next visit to the Queen's palace, he gave her the horses.
Why does Wali Dad keep sending gifts? I've never even heard of him.
Why don't you discourage him? Send him a gift so rich that he could never hope to match it.
So in return for the 10 horses from Wali Dad, the king sent back 20 mules loaded with silver.
What have I done to deserve this? Friend, spare an old man. Take 2 mules and their silver for yourself and the rest to the King of Nekabad.
The merchant was getting uneasy, but he could not refuse such a generous offer. So not long after, he found himself presenting the silver-laden mules to the King of Nekabad. The king, too, was perplexed and asked his prime minister for advice.
Perhaps this Wali Dad is trying to prove you're better. Why don't you send him a gift that he could never surpass?
So the king sent back 20 camels with golden anklets, 20 horses with gold bridles and stirrups, and 20 elephants with golden seats mounted on their backs, and 20 liveried servants to care for them all. When the merchant had guided the servants and animals to Wali Dad's hut, the grass cutter was beside himself.
Will this bad fortune ever end? Please, stop for a minute. Take 2 of every animal for yourself and give the rest to the Queen of Kazakhstan.
No, how can I see her again?
Oh, please.
All right.
Clearly this man wants to marry you. Perhaps since his gifts are so fine, you should meet him.
So the queen ordered a great caravan made ready, with countless horses, camels, and elephants. With the traveling merchant as guide, she and her court set out to visit the great Wali Dad. On the 3rd day, the caravan made camp, and the queen sent the merchant ahead to tell Wali Dad of her coming.
Oh no! Now I will pay for all my foolishness. I have put shame on myself, you, and the queen. What are we to do?
I fear we can do nothing.
Goodbye, old punk. I will never see you again. Wally Dad, where are you going? I'm just a stupid old man. Let me go on my way and face my shame.
No king can come to man as you. Your clothes may be poor, but in your heart you are a king. Wow! Return, Wali Dad. All is as it should be.
Wali Dad looked behind him. Where his hut stood, a splendid palace sparkled in the rising sun. In shock, he turned to the Peris, but they had vanished. Wali Dad hurried back along the road. As he entered the palace, the guards gave a salute. Servants bowed to him, then rushed here and there, preparing for the visitors. Wali Dad wandered through countless rooms, gaping at riches beyond his imagining. Suddenly,
Wally Dad! A caravan from the east! A caravan from the west! No, a caravan from both sides! Ah!
coming from the east was a queen in a jeweled litter. Coming from the west was a king on a fine horse.
Wali Dad, we meet at last. But who is
And so the king of Nekabad met the queen of Kazakhstan, and the two fell instantly in love. A few days later, their marriage took place in the palace of Wali Dad, and the celebration went on for many days. At last, Wali Dad said goodbye to all his guests. The next morning, he rose before dawn, crept quietly from the palace, and started down the road. But he had not gone far when he heard,
Did I not tell you I was a stupid old man? I should have been thankful for what I received. But
Say no more, Wali Dad. You should have your heart's desire.
So Wali Dad became once more a grass cutter, living happily in his hut for the rest of his days. And though he often thought warmly of his friends, the king and queen, he was careful never to send them another gift.